Hi, I am Mike of Nearly Enough Dice, and this is the Kerbal Space Program. Right, here we are. I have got... actually, what is this? What is this called in a minute? I have no idea. I'm trying to work out what this, what the game thinks this is called, but it doesn't really matter. This is my Big Tug, and this is the fuel transfer stage from Pallas VIII, which I've parked closer to Athena. What I am going to do is I'm going to see if I can't go and find this orbit here, which contains somewhere around here Pallas VI, which there we go. I think there we go. That's Pallas VI. Pallas VI, which had just enough fuel to get into some kind of orbit, and so it's basically almost entirely without fuel, and it's kind of going and orbiting. So I'm going to see if I can't go fetch it. So I've set up a maneuver node over to the side of the moon in the dark, where everything happens whenever I do stuff with the moon. So I've set up a maneuver node to do the transfer. So let's fire up KOS and I really have to start oh, that's good. No maneuver nodes present? What are you talking about? There's a maneuver node right there. What? Oh, am I going to have to do this manually? Oh, lordy lord. Can't be having that. So I'm using, there's the on 0.17.1. It doesn't seem to believe in the existence of next node, despite the fact that there is a node in play. Huh. Well, I guess I'm just going to have to do this manually. The main reason I really want the main reason I want that is one of the advantages, because I've done, you know, this, I've loaded up the quick save, the game does not know how much thrust the current vessel has, and thus it does not know how long the burn is going to take, and that means in turn that it does not know. I therefore don't know when I want to start the burn, because if it's going to take a 2-second burn, I want to start 1 second before the actual node, and if it's a 10-second burn, I want to start 5 seconds before, so I'm evenly on either side. No maneuver nodes present. How extraordinarily entertaining. Oh, wait. That could actually be true. Ah, I was on the wrong thing. Sweet, okay. What I wasn't paying attention to was where I've got, there's like 4 computer processors in play at the minute. Athena 1's got one. The Pallas VIII Grasshopper's got 2, and there's one on what is called Pallas VIII Grasshopper Probe, and that's the one that actually has the maneuver node on it, so that actually makes sense. Okay. Ah, making my life complicated. Run, calc, ISP, run, X node, ISP. Sweetie poo. Now I'm regretting not putting a flight computer on something on this particular ship. because it's made up of the tug itself, which in fact does not have a computer core on it. It's one of the few things I've built recently that doesn't have a computer. I put computer cores on everything nowadays. But this back end thing does have a computer core on it. I'm regretting not putting a flight computer on it, because I could really do with working out how much delta V I have at the minute. I could probably work that out. I mean, I've got the information. I've got the ISP of this engine. I've got the mass, and I've got how much fuel is in here. So in theory, I can work out the ISP. But in practice, I don't really know what I'm doing. Okay, let's not dawdle. 14 seconds, so go. Give the 20-second thing on the alarm clock. I should check them with 0.17, 0.171 chaos. It can actually integrate with the Kerbal alarm clock. So I might be able to start doing things, setting alarms automatically, and then just, you know, chucking my warp up to whatever. But of course, the big thing that I need to start thinking about is the fact that version 1 of Kerbal Space Program is coming in a few days. It's now less than a week for version 1. And so many things are going to change. I don't know if this save file is going to work in the next thing. I don't know if KOS is going to work in version 1. I don't know if the Kerbal alarm clock is going to work in version 1. Or Engineer. Those are the 3 mods I use. So who knows? Speaking of save files, Big Tug, Pallas VI Rescue. I've just had too many, both crashes caused by the game, and also complete utter screw-ups caused by my idiocy. So lots of save files, basically. Let's see how this goes. But yeah, I really wish I put a Kerbal Engineer Redux flight computer on one of the bits of this craft. That'll be a handy thing to have. Let's get rid of that. Away! Right, so I'm doing okay for fuel. Sweet. Okay, so now it's going to be working out when to do my intercept. So I've gone for an orbit that, as best as I can make it, is kind of parallel. It's not perfectly parallel. It's on the same inclination, pretty much. But you want it to be as parallel as possible, so you can do a maneuver like this, right, which takes me from my outer orbit to an orbit that just grazes or just meets my target orbit. And it actually goes okay, and so then it's all right. So this is going to take me to the orbit, my target orbit. And it's just a question of when do I do this. So first off, I just click through. Oh, that's actually pretty close already. 5.1 clicks, 7.1. So if I go, so I'm going around orbits at this point by clicking these buttons. And the thing to look out for is I'm behind on this orbit, and I'm ahead on this orbit. So therefore, somewhere, if I go back one, somewhere on this orbit, it should be my closest. So this is where I can start just dragging this around until those line up pretty well. 1.8, 1.3, 1.2. So I can get to within about 1.2, and I might be able to fiddle. You know, I might the disparity might be actually disparity between our orbits, which I think is actually the case. In like inclination and stuff like that. But I'm going to go with 1.2. I'm going to accept that one. I'm going to accept that 1.2, and so I'm just going to run that maneuver node. And this is the bit I really hate, when it just gets all wobbly. So I'm going to just use SAS to see if I can't calm that wobble down. I don't want to use RCS. The problem with doing it with RCS is you can end up creating enough force that you actually end up completely changing your relationship with your orbit, and so that can actually cause more harm than good. I'm gonna... Oh, well, yes, I would have done it. So I am just gonna chuck that onto Kerbal alarm clock. It's gonna claim it's gonna take only a few seconds, so let's give it a 10-second countdown. And it's kind of cheating to use the time warp to, that's 50 is my maximum. It's a little bit cheaty to use time warp to slow down, you know, the oscillation. But the fact of the matter is, I want time warp anyway, because I don't want to sit here for an hour. Well, I'm going to sit here for like whatever 1 hour 12 minutes divided by 50 is. So it's going to be a few minutes as it stands anyway. Where's my target? It's another reason why I would quite like to have a flight computer on this, because there's a thing that tells you how far away your target is. In theory, I could get my KOS to do it if I thought to program that in, but I didn't. So there you go. And of course, I only have the one processor on this ship, which is fine. So this is going to take a little while. Oh dear me. So anyway, 1.0 is coming, KSP. A lot of things are going to change. The aerodynamic model is changing, which is interesting in and of itself. So that's going to mean that a lot of my launch vehicles aren't going to work as well. Probably. I may have to start putting nose cones on things. I may have to abandon asparagus staging. But on the plus side, I might be able to do actual proper gravity turns. We always talk about gravity turns as the ascent profile. That's not actually gravity turn. Like, actual gravity turn is when you have a heavy thing at one end and you've got fins on the other. So the fins are trying to keep everything straight, but the heavy thing at the top is trying to fall over. And so by getting the right balance between those two, you tip the rocket over a little bit at the beginning of the launch, and it will follow a proper profile without you having to touch anything. So I might be able to do things like that. I might be able to design proper space planes, maybe. Although spaceplanes are complicated, and spaceplanes, what I don't like about spaceplanes is that you really have to test them in ways that you don't really have to test rockets. You need to test them under more circumstances than you need to test rockets and stuff like that. So that should be interesting. There's going to be some changes made to science labs, which may have consequences for the Athena project, which is that if a science lab is Kerbaled, shall we say, we're about to go. But basically, if you've got a lab with Kerbals in it, and it gets things like soil samples from the moon or something, it can process them long term and generate science long term, which might mean that what I want to do with the Athena project might be completely different to what I'm doing at the minute. It's only got down to 2.2. I could possibly try and fiddle with it, but 2.2 is within physics range. That will do. So I'm going to chuck in a closeness thing. Okay. Yeah, we'll leave it a minute and just go back into warp. Yeah, so that could be interesting. It's possible. I mean, this is all assuming that the save files work, which they may well not do. So that is going to be a question whether or not I'm going to be able to. Am I going to start from scratch? There's also going to be resource mining, which I'm actually quite looking forward to, because that's going to change things a great deal, because one of the things that one of the issues with wandering about the solar system, both in real life and in Kerbal Space Program, is that every tiny chunk of delta V that you want to use, whether you're going to the moon, whether you're going to Minmus, whether you're going to Joule, or wherever else, has to come from Kerbin. So every bit of fuel has to be dragged out of Kerbin's energy, out of Kerbin's gravity well. But if you can generate rocket fuel on the moon or rocket fuel on Minmus, that really changes things, because then you've got rocket fuel that you only have to drag out of the moon's gravity well or Minmus's gravity well. Minmus doesn't really have much of a gravity well. Now we've got really slow because my altitude is very low at the moment. Well, I could have been careful. I suddenly realised that I got quite a bit lower. And I could have smashed the moon. That's one of those things. I should check. I should be more careful about that. Yeah, so that's when you start wanting to set up stations and bases long term and have them crewed long term. There's also the thing that apparently it'll cost money for Kerbals. You'll have to hire them for money. And this is the problem, because I've suddenly realized that I've actually nearly run out of money. I have been a bit profligate. And it's not helped by the fact that because of the way I went back in time a little while ago, I no longer have that career waypoint. I didn't do it, and that means that I didn't get the money that was associated with it, which is about I can't remember how much it was, certain amount. And so I actually currently don't have enough money to do any launches. So if I'm not careful, my space program could stop because I don't have enough money to do any launches at the moment. No, don't crash. This would be annoying. I've noticed sometimes that if you check the contracts, I don't know if something's going on where it's having to check stuff, but it very often delays for a long time. But we have not crashed, sweet. But as you can see, I've only got 28 grand. Actually, no, I've only got 2 grand. It's not very much at all. Okay, so we are aiming for... Where's it gone? There's grasshopper, okay. Right, I don't think I'm quite at the I need to stop right now moment, so I'm going to leave it for just a second. It's really when it's like at 90 degrees, that's when I kind of need to do it. So yeah, so not only career mode could be rather interesting in 1.0, and it's actually getting to the point of possibly getting kind of interesting now, where I might not have enough money to actually do anything. So I may have to make a point of doing contracts with just what I've got in orbit at the minute. Right, we're obviously having troubles there. So we're going to head towards so that could be interesting. I'm not sure what I can do in career mode if I end up just running out of money. You know, what do you do at that point? Actually, no. Do I want? Yeah, I want to be. Oh, I don't know. Actually, I'm just going to point at. Try and do the clever thing of where I'm. That's prograde. And prograde get drawn towards where my cursor is when I. This is very wibbly wobbly. Because we're 2 clicks away, we're going to go reasonably fast. And you notice that now that we're at high speeds, it's not that the wobbling stopped, it's that the wobbling has much less of an effect and therefore doesn't show up as much. Oh, dear me. Right, zoom. Yeah, so what I think my next plan is when I do hook up, is I'm going to want to try and grab that location there. What I might do is grab that location there with Pallas 6 and then try and grab that one along the way when I've got those 3 that are on the ground there, those blue ones. Hopefully I'll be able to go into orbit and get that last one and get 2 missions for 1, and hopefully that'll give me enough money to do more missions. Yeah, I'm seriously unsure of what I would do if I just ran out of money in career mode. I'm just going to change my orientation so that the nav ball more or less matches up with what I'm seeing on the screen. Right, so we're 46 meters away, so I think it's time to bring up that, turn on ICS, turn off that stability assist, close that because I'm not going to be using it, and I'm going to want to control from here, and go into chase mode, so I know. Whoosh! So things that, I mean, the main reason I want to do it is not so much I want to keep the camera rotating this way. It's that it orients the camera kind of the way I think it should be. So basically, the way the ship is oriented. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap over to here. Going to go to KOS on the grasshopper, and I'm going to say lock steering to up. There. Right, so that's going to have a consistent orientation now. Now, the thing is, I can't do that to this machine because, as it turns out, there is a bug in KOS with what's called the cooked controls. That's when I did lock steering to up, right? So that's so in other words, what I'm not doing is I'm not directly saying, okay, left a bit, right a bit, left a bit, right a bit, up a bit, down a bit. I'm just saying, find the up vector, point yourself at it, right? And that's a very convenient thing to be able to do, but that's called cooked control because I'm not having to work out how to point it upwards. I'm just saying you work it out for me, which is awfully convenient to be able to do. But that only works when you are pointing in the same axis as the control, the root node, in this case a probe core, right? If the thing so I'm now currently I think the ship actually points this way, so this is the front of the ship. I've selected this docking port to control from, which is effectively the back of the ship. Which means if I tried to do anything with the target, if I tried to say, if I tried anything with steering, anything that's lock steering to, it apparently gets it gets confused with the roll, and will just go mental, and I'll start spinning madly, which is kind of a pity. My understanding is that, let's just slow my rate of approach. My understanding is that what's called raw controls, in other words, left a bit, right a bit, left a bit, right a bit, that they actually work pretty well. So, but I would have to write some components to do that. Why am I continually drifting away from? Okay, so I should be reasonably close now. I suddenly realised that by locking steering to up, given that we're orbiting a spherical body, is going to change. That's going to impart effectively a slight rotation to my target. But of course, I've got to say, I've got the usual problem, which is that my my RCS is off axis. So adjustments I make to the RCS will almost, pretty much by definition, cause me to oscillate. I think also the SES can be a bit choosy about where it thinks you're trying to be. So it tries to compensate, which very often means it actually tries to undo the change you just made, even if that's not what you wanted. Slowly, slowly. Yeah, so the SAS and the RCS are kind of fighting each other at the moment. Slowly. Okay. I wonder if I should go back to putting burner on engines on absolutely everything. that will help. That that might help in this particular situation where the tug is going to be off balance because it's hauling this big long thing behind it. Well, I didn't want to do that at all, actually. I think I actually had things balanced, and then I kind of messed up the balance a bit. I think I may have to hope a lot for the magnetism to join us together. Did we get... Yes! Ha! Quick save! Not with control, with alt. Okay, so Pallas VI docked. In big... exclamation mark as well, what the hell. Whew! Well, that took a while. Right, so I think what I'm going to do is going to see if I can't get I've now got Delta V all over the place. Oh, brilliant, yeah. So the question is, am I going to try and I don't think I'm going to, actually, because according to this I only have enough Delta V. Admittedly, that's the Delta V of the whole thing, and I won't be taking it all with me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that in the air. So I'm going to change this orbit, grab that, and then hope I've got enough to rendezvous with Athena. And Pallas 8, which actually has quite a lot of Delta V, is going to try and get those. That's my plan for next time. So thanks very much for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you've been enjoying. Come and find us at nearlyenoughdice.com, and we're also Nearly Enough Dice on Twitter and Facebook. Role-playing game themed podcast and blog. And until next time, whatever you're doing, reach for the stars.